Alright, good evening. How are you doing, guys, over there? My name is Luke Davis from Agape Media, and you're welcome for tonight's class. Our graphics class continues. Let us proceed from where we stopped last time. Last time we did something so beautiful. I am really so excited with the progress. I've been trying to review some of the works that we have sent in, and it's really so amazing. And so, guys, I would just like to say, please don't give up. Just continue pushing because it is really so awesome. And so, let's just keep up the spirit. Let's keep up with that heart. Eventually, you are going to be a perfect designer. I want to appreciate everyone who are trying. Please, as I was telling you at the beginning of this course, that the best way to learn this is by practicing. All these are practical courses. IT is really so practical. There is no way you can learn anything related to IT if you just attend the theoretical classes or just follow the notes. So make sure you go on and practice. So today, just as always, we normally like starting from scratch. So let's just create a new artboard. It is completely blank, and we are going to continue from there. All right, so let's just give it a name. Let's give it a name, like let's call it Wednesday. I mean, I'm running out of names for our project, so let's call it Wednesday. And here we go. I've just skipped some of those things, the setups and what. So let's change the color mode to RGB because we are not going to print it out. So that is RGB for us. So last time we learned how to add effects to objects and text and so on and so forth. So today I want us to go ahead and learn more and more effects. So we are still continuing with the effects, and I think let's start from the last effect that we applied last time, and that was masking. Last time we had done masking, and we learned how we can mask using shapes. We can always have a photo, for example. Let's just say we have something like this photo. Okay, we can always have this, and we said we can decide to mask this in a circular form. So we can use that circular tool, ellipse tool, then draw a circle here. It means now this circle will be the one masking, but we can first reduce the photo by scaling, transform, then go to scale. Then you can choose a percentage less than 100, like 90. Then Control D to continuously redo it. So we can just reduce the size of the circle. Now a circle is a shape, you can just drag the sides. But a photo, please don't get used to dragging the sides of a photo. You end up distorting. So I'm going to remove the color, the fill color, so that I can see. Now this is my circle. I can put it in the middle. Okay. I can do this. I can do that. Now we talked about masking. Then I will select everything. Then I will go to make clipping mask. So you see the photo which I was having is now being clipped into a circular form. I can even bring it out here. Now you see that you can see properly. Now that is what we learned last time. But how about if we are to mask using other things like text? Yes, it's possible to mask using text. Okay, so let us try it out. Let's try it out. Let's get a good photo. Let's get a photo like this. Let's drag this photo and drop it there. So all right, that's not working for us. Let's get another photo, maybe that we can use. Okay, let's check here in downloads. We should be having some photos, some good photos that we can use. All right, let's say this one here. So I'll just drag it and drop it onto our artboard. So let me rescale this. We already know the steps, what we can do to rescale without distorting the aspect ratio of the photos that we are doing. So let's say we have something like this and we want to mask it using text. So let's go to type tool and we write something, and let's just say, okay, let's type Wednesday. Okay, so we want to mask this photo using the text Wednesday. So we just increase the text and make sure we get a font that can make this visible. So I would prefer a font which is big, and so let's think of, can this work or it's really ugly? Fine, whatever it is, let's try this out. So we can try out this. We can bring this text on top. Now when we try to mask, we group it and we say make clipping mask. You see what will happen? Now the text will be painted using the photo which is in the background. I don't know. Maybe let me repeat the same everything. Okay, because I think I went too fast and someone could be wondering what did we just do. All right, let's get some good photo. Okay, I want us to get some good photos. Yeah. Fine, we can stick to this. We said if we want to create a stylish effect on a certain text, we can also use the masking tool by masking or painting or coloring this text using a photo. So assuming that's our photo and we want to color a certain text, like a text, let's say Wednesday. Remember, you can choose any font that you want. I've decided to choose that one. Now this one I downloaded from the internet. You can also download yours. So we are going to just mask this text. So let's increase the font size, okay, so that it's big, it covers much space. Okay, let's just increase that. Now, the same way we do masking using shapes is the same way we do that. After adjusting your appropriate size, you just select the photo and the text. Selecting it together, then you go to right click, then go to make clipping mask. Now, that is what we have, and our text will be masked or will be painted using that. Now, since we are not seeing, we can always add the shadow effects so that we can see all that. We already talked about this. If you're finding it's really new, it means you missed some of the classes along the way. Okay, so we can have our shadow effects like such, so that we can. Now you can see this text looks more stylish than the normal text. So ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the effects that you can always go ahead and create. So I'm sure you've understood that. Let us try another effect. That is sliding. Okay, sorry, slicing, not sliding, slicing. So let's try something new. I want us to try this together. I may not be able to recall it very well, but if we want to slice a text, slice it. So let's try this together. Let me write something like my name. Okay. No, my name will not bring it very well. Let me write, let's use the word Davis. I think Davis is going to bring it very well. Let's use some cool font, not that one. Let me try like Metropolis. I love that font. Always, let's make it, let's use black. Metropolis black, and we can always increase the font size to any that we want. All right, so what we want to do here, okay, before we go to slicing, I have realized there's something I have to introduce. Now, before we go to slicing effects, let's first introduce some other effects that we apply when we are doing it, when we are doing slicing. So let me not make us to climb a tree from up. When we try to change the fill color to some of these colors here, it will change. But then there is a color here. This gradient color. If you try to change the color to gradient color, it will not change. Instead, it will change to black. I don't have enough explanation for it, but if you try these uniform colors, it will come. But how do you do it? So if we want to change it to a gradient color like this color, red and yellow, we have to first create outlines. We convert this text into a smart object, and we do that by right clicking. Then we say create outlines. When you create outlines, instead of being text, it will have all those features that other shapes have. So now you can go ahead and click on this, so you can see each and every text has been painted or filled. The fill color is now gradient. We can always change. Now you can look for other colors from here. You can see this one, swatch libraries menu. You can click on that and look for which others. Now if you want gradients, just look for gradients here. Then there are very many. They are bright, so you can keep testing, okay, until you get the one you want. You can always scroll it from here and you get, there are very many gradient colors. Like there's this one, you know. Just keep trying until you get the one you want. Now, if you notice carefully, you realize each and every text here is having the content of bright and dark this side. What if we want all of them to be at once, like bright to be this side and dark this side? In other words, we want to paint all through. It's quite long, but let's do it together. So you repeat the same procedures. You create outlines. Now that we have already created outlines, all we have to do, you right click, then you go to ungroup. After ungrouping, you don't click outside anywhere. Still right click again and you go to release compound path. then that effect, this one's, it will be like you're spoiling it, but don't worry, we are just making it well. Then right click again, then again you say make compound path. I don't know whether it makes sense. You release compound path, then you make it. Just by doing that, you're able to make this to be painted like this, so that when you want to add other effects to it or color effects, it will now take like that. For example, even if we come to this, you realize that this part will be purely yellow, then the red will come from there. Okay, now let us add something else about gradients. Now, amongst the tools here, we have the first one is what we call the color tool, the second one is what we call the color guide, and this one is what we call the swatches. And it's all about colors, even this one, brushes and so on and so forth. But if you notice this rectangle, it is gradient. It's the same that we have also this side, gradient tool. So if we click this, it means we can paint this in form of a gradient. Now you can see, now this is where we get our yellow red color. So we can double click here and we change this, maybe let's say to blue. You see, now it means the first text will take blue. This second one we can decide to remove it. The second one we can remove it, and this one we can bring it down here and we make this color blue rather. Let's try this. And the last one here, we can also remove this one, and we have only two colors. Now you see the colors, we have the way we have changed colors. Always come to gradient tool, select it, and come to gradient tool. When you on the gradient tool, you can always adjust this in any way that you want. Ladies and gentlemen, that's basically what we do with this. So I'm not going to waste any time onto this again. So that's how we can play around with the gradients, how you can play around with all those things. So what I wanted us to learn was the effect of slicing. Okay, all right, we still have time. All right, we have time, so we can proceed. So let us go ahead now and create the slicing effect. So we are done with this, we can put it aside. Let's try that. Okay, so let's type the word Davis, D-A-V-I-S. Now we want to create a slicing effect here, and the first thing you want to do when you're creating a slicing effect, you right click on the text, then you create outlines. Okay, after creating outlines, I want you to go ahead and draw a shape, okay, a rectangular shape across this text. Now you want to slice it. If you want to slice it is this horizontally, whatever it is. If you want to slice it like that, straight like that, you will draw it like that. But if you want to slice it at some angle, you come and rotate this shape until it's to some angle. Now you realize you cannot see what it has sliced below there. So let's try to reduce the opacity of this shape to 50%. Also the opacity of the text, also reduce it to 50%. Now you can see which part is being cut and which part is not being cut. So we can rotate it in any way we want until we get the desired shape. So I think that is enough. So after you've done that, you select these two layers, the text layer and this shape layer. Select it together and to group. When you select it like that, it will be all selected together. Then you come to what we call the shape builder. Now this is what we call the shape builder. It's this one here. Or if we collapse this shape builder, it is this one. So you select shape builder, okay, then you click alt, click an alt alt on your keyboard, click an alt alt. Now I want you to come and remove the parts you don't want it to appear. For example, you don't want these parts of the box of this rectangle to appear, so you select from outside, not from the text, from outside. You click, it will disappear. Now you realize inside of D there is something remaining there, so you also bring the cursor there and click. Remember, you're still holding alt on your keyboard, so you don't release it until you're done. Even here we remove this one. So now that we are done, all you have to do is to group. So you group the upper ones. You can click these upper ones, you draw a line across all the upper ones. After doing that, you can you also draw a line, another line. Remember, we are still under shape builder. You draw another line to cut across all these ones down together, also like that. Now you can go back to the move tool. Now you select, you can see all of them are now individual pieces. Now let's put these pieces together. So we select the upper pieces only, then we say right click, then we go to group, then we also select the downer pieces only, then we also group. Now we realize we have two pieces. The upper one, now we can move the upper one the way we want. We can move it to the right. Now if you see, moving it to the right, it's like we have sliced the text. I hope you can see it's a very simple effect. Or we can move it to the left. I think it's better if it's to the left, something like that. So you can move it upwards. You can see, you have seen all these effects, people have created them before. Now this is how we do it. You can do that. You can bring this a little bit down here. Now you can do that. There is no problem. You can play around with whatever you want to do. Now that is what we call the slicing effect or the slicing tool, and that is how we make it. Please, if I went too fast, just do me a favor, rewatch this video. After you've created the right one, you can always group all of them together. After grouping it together, now you can recolor it if you want all of them to have the same color, of course. But if you wanted them to have different colors, you can still ungroup. Then the upper one, you can choose the color you want. If you want this one to go with this, you can do that. Then, but remember, the opacity is at 50%. So always make sure you go ahead and increase. Sorry, it's already at 100. We were supposed to do that before we ungrouped it. So let's first ungroup it. After ungrouping, then we select all of them, the upper ones. Then we increase the opacity back to 100%. And even this one's down. Let's first ungroup it, because if you forget to increase the opacity, you will not attain the right color that you want. So let's increase the opacity to 100%. Now we can go ahead and group it, because we are done with it. We can group that, even the upper ones. We can go ahead and group it. So we can now give it any color that we want. So this one's down. We can give it we can give it, or we can give it this. You know, you can have something like that, stylish. So that is basically what we were doing, what we were trying to introduce tonight. So we can compare. Now you can see these two texts, which one is more artistic. So when you're designing a poster, you make sure you have creativity. You know, bring something new, something creative, add something that someone may have not yet done it. So that is how best we can add our creativity to our text, by creating what we call a sliced text or slicing tool. All right. Up next, let us learn what we call blending. Blending. Okay. I'm just going to delete that one. Let's do blending. Okay. Let's assume we have a photo. Like this one in the background. Let's say we are trying to design. Let's say we are trying to design like just a wedding invitation, and we want the photo of the groom, of our bride, or I don't know who is. Let's say it's the groom for now. We want the photo of the groom to appear in the background. So we can either reduce the opacity of this. There is this arrow option of opacity we can reduce, so that the photo can be faint in the background. So that's one option. Let me undo it. Or you can blend. Now to blend, the reason why I'm showing you blending, because with blending you can choose the color to blend with. So what we have to do is to draw another shape on top of it. It is blocking it, so let's choose a unique color like blue. Now what we have to do is to blend. Now if we are to blend, we blend this blue and the photo which is in the background. So to do the blending, there is this option. Where is it? Okay, where did my options go? Some things disappeared from the panels. I don't know. Okay, it's here. I didn't want it to disappear. I don't know how it disappeared. Yeah, let me bring it back there. So this is what I was trying to say. You see this one here, transparency. It's for blending. So when you click it, under it here, this is what we call the blending mode. So we can, once we have selected this object in front, we can come to that shape, hit this one down here, then we go to the blending mode, then we change from normal, we can choose darken. Now you can see what darken does. We can try another one, multiply. You can see that. You can choose any you want, or overlay, okay? You can choose soft color, add color, like that. So any color, any way you want. I think I would use multiply. Or you can even change the color. Now that was blue. We can change the color of this shape from blue. We can try this. So you see our photo is in the background, but it's taking the color of the foreground. So whatsoever color we put in the foreground, it takes it. So now you can go ahead and design your invitation card with the photo in the background, but it can be seen, but it's blended with what we have done. So that is how we can create a blended photo or a blended background. So ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we are moving that slow. I think we are really going too fast, and this should be our last week for vector graphics. Yeah, so today being Wednesday means we have 2 more lessons on Illustrator. Then we'll be done with Illustrator. Then we go to Photoshop. We at the end we shall come back to Illustrator, because there are some things we want to introduce, but it's better we first talk about it in Photoshop. And that's the reason why we shall try our best to always move concurrently. So I don't want to take a lot of time onto something very simple. Now, some of these tools, you're going to learn them by yourself, okay? You're going to learn it on your own. We have talked about them, and we are just doing basics. Most of these things you will learn when you do practices. That's why I've been insisting that, please, do practice, do practice, do practice, do practice. Because if you don't practice, trust me, you will not understand some of these things. Okay, so make sure you do your practices. If you don't practice, you will not understand, and you will say it was a waste of time. And that's why I don't want it to be a waste of time for you. So practice, do your part, and leave the rest to us. Okay, now what am I even trying to introduce here? There is something else I wanted us to talk about. And okay, that is creating irregular shapes using brush tool. For example, assuming we want to write down here, but we want to create something stylish, we can come to the brush tool, painting brush, then we increase the size of the painting brush. Let's choose this one is the one I wanted. Then we increase the stroke. Let's say the stroke is 10. So let's choose white color. I want to create some unique background, but I don't know how to do it, so I would just come and paint here. Alright, I'm not seeing it coming. So you see what I'm creating? I want to create some pattern. So let me undo that. Okay, I want to create some unique pattern. Assuming I wanted to create a background, but not a shape, but just something like stylish, like art, like a painting. So now I can go ahead and write. If I thought there was something I wanted to write there, I can just go and say, let's try to reduce the font size. Okay, let's try 14, and say, you are all invited. So I can bring my text onto my background. So the reason why I'm doing this, I wanted to show you how artistic you could be. Okay, so now you can see this shape. If you look for this shape around here, you will never find, and yet what we did, we simply used the brush. Okay, now we can always apply that more so in posters. So in our next class, we are going to design a poster together. So ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be very, very interesting. That's the reason why I wanted to talk about some of these tools before that time comes, before we can design the actual poster again. So that's why tonight we are not going to go so deep, but our next class we shall tackle posters. So go ahead, try to practice some of these skills and effects that we've talked about. We may not get time to repeat them, but you can always do that. So without wasting time, allow me to wish you the best of your evening. We have no assignment for tonight. All you have to do is to continue doing your practice. In our next class, we are going to design a poster from scratch. And after that, we shall have an assignment. And that would be something very, very instrumental, because after that, we shall go and do some kind of Photoshop. So thank you so much for following Agape Media. Thank you for attending our classes. And thank you for always being so passionate about graphics and media. Have the best of your evening.